Hey, Scott from Aristocop.com here.
And Seth from SethMarkwood.com.
My whole cadence was off there.
Was it?
Together, the three of us, that's you and me and Boy, we are Markwood Men's Breakfast Club. Welcome, maybe again, maybe for the first time. Morning, Boy.
Good morning, Homer. You doing all right there?
I'm doing all right. Hey, you didn't say anything about my beard.
About your beard?
Yeah, look at my beard.
Oh.
You notice that?
There was a good reason for that. My mind must have been blocking it out because now that I'm looking at it, I wish I hadn't seen it.
So I'm taking a blood thinner post-surgery. And one of the things they said, look, if you can avoid it, don't shave. Don't do anything that might cause you to cut yourself because, it could be a problem. All right, not a problem. I won't shave. I posted something to Instagram. This is why I don't grow a beard. I'm so envious of your beard.
Sorry. Yeah, my wife wishes I would shave it.
Really?
Yeah. She prefers the Van Dyke, but it's just too much work. It's just too much work. This I can get away with not cleaning up down here for a couple of extra days if I have to. When I have the Van Dyke, it's got to be every other day. Really.
So, the Van Dyke, which so many people
call a goatee. Yeah, a goatee does not include a mustache, and so I'm with you usually because it's what grows naturally. If I just trim away what looks ratty, I'm left with a goatee. Yeah,
or a Van Dyke. Speaking of Van Dyke, you know what I've been watching? It should be an easy guess. You know what I've been watching on
TV Land?
Amazon Prime, just episode after episode after episode?
Andy Griffith Show.
That's right.
Yeah. Nailed it.
Obviously, the Dick Van Dyke Show. What a great show.
Yeah.
What a great show that was and is. And I'm sitting there watching it, and Smuckers, my 9-year-old grandson, said something about he was familiar. I said, well, yeah, he should be. So I pulled out the iPad and I pulled him up as Bert, the bad Englishman, and Mary Poppins. Then I showed him doing the old bamboo song from Chitty Bang Bang. And while I'm looking for, though, the Mary Poppins one, I see that he was in the most recent Mary Poppins movie, which I did not know that.
Phenomenal.
And he is phenomenal.
He's phenomenal.
So we watched that together, and he's like, that's the same guy? I said, look, that show I just paused, the Andy Griffith Show, we were watching an episode from 1961.
Yeah.
I said, it's been over 50 years since he filmed that.
Phenomenal. And if you haven't seen the new Mary Poppins, spoiler alert if you don't want to know, Angela Lansbury makes an appearance and sings a song as well. Angela Lansbury. So she
was in Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
She was. Also Beauty and the Beast, also Murder, She Wrote, also the original Sweeney Todd, all sorts of stuff. She makes an appearance and sings a song. She's phenomenal. She's an okay filler in for Julie Andrews, who doesn't make an appearance. But, if you don't get Julie Andrews, getting Angela Lansbury is a fine second place.
That's cool.
Yeah, plus Dick Van Dyke's in it.
Yeah, he did a great job. At least I saw one scene.
You saw everything.
Okay.
That's all he's there for. He makes an appearance.
Is he playing Bert, or is he?
No, he's playing the banker that he played in the original.
That he played, or
yes.
that he interacted with in the original?
No. Oh, it sounds like someone.
He played Bert.
Sounds like
the Chimney Sweep.
Sounds like someone needs to go back and watch the original, because in the original he was also the banker.
Huh.
He was. He played two parts. Check it out.
I guess I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's quite funny when you notice it, because he's in makeup and stuff, and so he plays that same character again in the new one.
That's great.
Yeah. So I have been getting into something that we've talked about a long time ago, and I've just been dragging my feet with. I purchased a 3D printer, a new 3D printer, in January, and have only just now in June, really started tinkering with it and getting into it. I was intimidated by getting it set up right on the software end, and so that's why I haven't bothered. But I have been printing things like crazy the last week.
So before you get into that,
Yeah.
did you see what Adam Savage just posted?
His jetpack?
Well, yeah, jetpack, but he made a whole Iron Man suit,
Yeah.
3D printing titanium.
Oh, I didn't see that part. I just saw the final result.
So he didn't actually, but
Right.
it was a teamwork thing. But
Yeah.
they printed 3D printed titanium.
It's amazing.
So cool. That
Have
whole
you seen?
process.
Have you seen the homes being 3D printed in concrete?
No.
There's this company that's making whole walls and things in concrete. It's 3D printing. I mean, I've read a book or listened to a book on Audible called "We Are Legion, We Are Bob," and the core premise is that an artificial intelligence that's built into a spaceship can control drones and winds up just going to explore space. And all of this is possible because of 3D printing. The drones, when they arrive, the drones go out, they harvest resources, bring them back, and they're able to replicate anything because 3D printing is so good that it can even replicate down to the atomic level. And so eventually, as the story goes on, the ship replicates itself and creates a duplicate copy of the artificial intelligence. Because it can do that, and we're not far from a future like that, where already some of the most extreme examples we've seen, NASA engineers are able to design things, submit the designs to the International Space Station, and they can 3D print them.
A tool that they didn't take with them. Yeah.
There on site. All you need is the raw resources and the capacity to do it.
That's
the 3D
wild.
printer. Yeah.
The Fifth Element. What's her nose?
Love.
The Fifth Element comes back because they 3D printed her.
That's true.
Very cool. Okay, so continue.
That scene from Total Recall, where that mask comes off of Arnold Schwarzenegger's head
Yeah.
in slices, that's actually, the mask was 3D printing Arnold Schwarzenegger's head.
That long ago?
Yeah. Well, that's in the future, so it's in the future, so it's fine. Sci-fi. So a couple of the things I've been 3D printing. This is one of my favorite pieces of nerd tech for the 3D printer. So this is a dice container that is printed for D&D. The screws, everything. So this was a piece that printed this base, or the center section printed, so the screws just screw in perfectly, and then the bottom is also 3D printed, and so this is sectioned off, so it has a space for your miniature in there as well. One of the things I think is really clever about the person that designed this.
So you made a Pringles canister.
I did. What I think is really clever, the person that designed this also designed the top to be a coaster. So when you're at your gaming table, you don't have to worry about sweat from your drink. So that was one I was pretty excited about. But then the one that I haven't decided. Oh, I will show this to you because you've not seen this yet. This is a top that I 3D printed. So this top, take a look at that.
I know how this is going to work.
This top is designed to be blown down into.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'm not level.
It's easier. It's easier
Wow.
to use a straw as well.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
that's built like the water turbines
Yeah.
on old grist mills.
So there's grooves in the top that come out to the side, and so if you blow into side of it, it will spin. So
They must have to turn that over because it's hitting the corners,
Yeah.
the corners
Prob-
of your.
the challenge is when you're not using a straw, as you're blowing, you're also blowing it away from you.
Right.
And so
Here, put it on, maybe on an iPhone. Here, try it on that.
No.
No?
And the other thing I've been printing are these little panels. So the designer calls them PolyPanels. So they come in a couple of different shapes. And you can play with those. I've been printing a number of them, but they're designed in a way that from every side, so regardless of size, so I've got a square here, pentagon, triangle, regardless, they can all snap into each other and coexist. And so you can have very complex shapes as you build these things out. So from a toy perspective, they're pretty cool. Right? They're pretty cool toy, just a thing to tinker with. You can build pretty complex things. There have been people that have built like cars and all sorts of different things. But the designer of this made them open source, and so he had a contest to see.
Which means what?
That means that he took the design and allowed it to be changed. Basically gave the rights of it away. And so he could hold a patent on this and not let anyone else make them, but that's not how the 3D printing community tends to be. He made it open for anybody to design and tinker with, and then as part of that, he also created a competition to see the most interesting ideas. And there are people that have taken just this ledge here and cut that off and then added other things to the other side, so like a hook that you could take these and suspend them and have like he ended up making a disco ball. He took some of these panels and bought small triangular mirror pieces that you're going to melt my plastic, triangular mirrors that glued in and created a disco ball with them. There have been people that have done just really, really interesting things. They're very diverse. I've been just printing them really because I'm at the end of my spool of plastic and I want to use it up.
So how long does it take to print one of those?
So one of the triangular pieces takes, I think, 17 minutes to print top to bottom. And so a panel of 5 of them takes like an hour and 15. But I can fit like 15 of these, 12 to 15 of them on a single platform and could print them all at once. So I've printed now probably 20 of the triangles, about 10 of the squares, and just 3 of the pentagons. Some of the people that have been making these have taken them and scaled them up. So scaled up, because again, it's open source, and with 3D printing, you can make it as big as your printer will allow you to make it. So some people have been making these triangles this big, and then you have these thick, heavy-duty plastic triangle pieces that you can use to build playground structures, basically.
Dome kind of a thing.
Right, and so playhouses for your kids. You could take these pieces and make real-world structures. It's pretty neat. And so this is one of the more impractical things that I've used my printer for recently. One of the more practical ones I didn't bring with me. I've recently installed some Wi-Fi enabled smart lights in our ceiling fan. Sounded like a good idea at the time because it lets me voice command the colors and turn them off with voice. The one thing I wasn't thinking of, something you should think about if you run into this situation, is that because they are independently connected to the Wi-Fi, if you turn the light switch, they lose power. And after 8 hours or however long of not having power, when you turn them on, they've disconnected from the Wi-Fi and start freaking out. You can't control them with voice anymore. So the only solution, if I want to keep the lights, is I have to keep my family from switching off the light switch. And so I printed a little, just a panel that I was able to put on the light switch that has a plastic piece that kind of cuts over at a 45-degree or 30-degree angle and pushes down on the light switch.
I need 2 of those.
Perfect. I'll print some.
I need 2.
So it's a solution that if you have to turn off the switch, because I didn't want to block it off and I didn't want to remove the switch, you could, but it discourages you from doing that.
I have 2 light switches in our entryway taped on.
Okay, yeah.
For that very reason. I don't want them turned off, and one of them is on a motion detector, and the other one is LED lights that doesn't matter. They've got such little usage, energy usage, just leave them on. And so they're taped on. It's a much classier solution.
Yeah, so I've been playing with it. It's a lot of fun. I might do a video or something with it later, but for now, I'm still doing just plug and play, basically getting prints off the internet and printing them. But this is, I'm using the Ender 3 as my printer. It's one that came with all of the electronics pre-built, but the actual shell of everything you have to build yourself. And so that was part of my apprehension, is I wasn't certain that I had everything fit and put together the right way. And then because it's all new dimensions and things, I'm not very used to using the software. And so what happens is, let's say I want to print this top. Well, I can import this into the what's called slicer software. And that's the software that's going to determine what the code for the printer needs to be able to successfully execute on the shape. Right? So it's taking a 3D model and turning it into something that the printer knows how to make it.
Then the printer follows that path.
That's right. And so there are an infinite number of options on that. So like one of the ones for those PolyPanels, one of the settings on there is shell settings. So shells is just how many shells is it going to have? If you increase the number of shells, you are increasing the strength because you're having extra perimeters around the object without having to increase it so much that you're filling the whole thing in, right? And if you think about it, I think it actually makes it stronger to have multiple shells than it does to fill the whole thing in, because you have these semi-rigid structures that are kind of working in a tension against each other. Versus if you just have the one shape completely full 100%, then it's more prone to breaking. But if you set it up for the PolyPanels, which you want to be rigid and strong and kind of big, and then you try to print something like that miniature that's very delicate and tiny and has fine details, it will fail, or it will print but it might fall apart, or it'll be a mess, it won't look good. And so changing those settings was where I really was getting caught up. So, but I've overcome that. It's a lot of fun.
Are the programs that are used to do that the same programs that are running CNC routers?
I think
they're similar, because those are not nearly as complex, I wouldn't think.
I think they're similar. I don't know. There are probably some differences. So they're probably not exactly the same software, but I think that they both use the same kind of output code. So the output language is G code. I think they probably both use that. But you think about the 3D printer, it's always moving up. A CNC is always moving down as it's cutting. But everything else, layer by layer, is exactly the same, which is why some people have taken their 3D printers and added a drill bit to them and used them. It's also the same code that's used for a lot of the laser printers and laser engravers.
Right.
And so I've got a coworker who took his 3D printer and added a high power, would not recommend, cheap from China laser to it. He can't have kids now. And uses the same 3D printing code to laser engrave. And he was using it to make PC parts. It was really, really cool. He was taking motherboards, engraving tape away from them to create a negative, and then dipping that in acid to create what he needed for the lines on the motherboard.
That's crazy.
It's really, really smart guy. So I want to talk about one other thing today, because I discovered something that I think you are going to love, maybe. So I had a situation. So I've recently purchased a new iPad. This is the cheapest model iPad that they make, which now has the Apple Pencil support. I was really happy with the price and am really happy with the Apple Pencil, even though this is the Apple Pencil Generation 1 and not the Generation 2, which has some upgrades, but it's fine. It's like I could buy three of these.
If I don't know what an Apple Pencil is it just a stylus?
It is a Bluetooth stylus. And so because it is designed with the iPad, it works incredibly well. And most styluses have that kind of squishy rubber on them.
Right.
This is a hard rubber, like a pencil, legitimately like a pencil. It comes to a very fine point, and the contact is just perfect. It works exactly like you expect a pen on paper to work, with the only exception that you're kind of writing on a hard surface instead of a kind of squishy, pliable paper surface. There are covers you can get, screen protectors that add a little bit of that resistance, but I found that I just find it to work just fine.
To it.
Yeah. And so I had a situation. We've talked a lot about Tim Reiseter and using the whiteboard and communicating that way, and we talk a lot about communication. I had a situation where somebody asked me a very complex question about one of our products, and I tried to write out a simple answer, and I was putting myself to sleep. I could not answer the question in an easy way because it was very complex. What they were asking and some of their base assumptions were wrong, and so I couldn't even talk about the product side without correcting some of their base assumptions, right? And so my initial response was, I would love to answer this question more fully. Would you be available to join me for a webinar, right? And so that we can talk about it, we can have a back and forth, I can answer questions. They came back with asking if I would be willing to fly me and one of my products to Texas to do a hands-on demonstration. That's not going to happen. This is a 4-foot long, really heavy, very expensive to ship product. It's not going to happen for what I know will be a 30-minute presentation. So I wanted to counter again with, thank you for your generous ask. I would love the opportunity to meet and hope that we get that soon. Would also really appreciate an opportunity I think I said, I wouldn't share anything in person that couldn't be covered and expressed in a webinar, so would love to do that. But I was sensing some hesitation from them since I've already made the offer 3 times and that had been rejected. And so I didn't want to rely on them coming back to the webinar to get the answer. I wanted to supply the answer now, even if it's in an imperfect format.
Right.
And so I turned to my iPad to help me with that. And so the iPad with the Apple Pencil, I use this software. I'll just show you. Let me delete that real quick. With the Apple Pencil, I have some note-taking software that has just been phenomenal. It's very responsive. And so this is one of the products that we sell. This is Trapzilla and how Trapzilla works. Did you know that on your phone and on your iPad, there is a screen recording feature? Did you know that?
I did know that, yeah.
Did you know that screen recording feature also has a microphone recording option?
I guess I didn't.
So what it allows you to do is, and it's now recording, it allows you to do voiceovers of a presentation if you wanted to give and record a presentation. Or in addition, what I did, I have this in my note-taking software. So I imported the image in. Well, what's nice about this particular piece of software is I can doodle on top of it. And then when I use the eraser on top of it, it only erases what I've doodled and it doesn't erase the picture underneath.
Okay.
And so I was able to walk them through the process because the question was about how it works, how's it actually, in this case, separating grease, functioning. And so I was able to walk them through, highlight certain things. I could say, at this point here, this is what's happening. If you look here, this is part of the patent, yada, yada, yada. And then I would just erase the things I wasn't talking about and then highlight now over here and just step them through step by step. Meanwhile, it's all recording my voice, so I was able to send them, and it saves it to your camera roll. And so
it's now recording. It allows you to do voiceovers.
The entire, basically, simplified presentation, I was able to do on the fly, send them very specific instructions and information, and have it be that hands-on, I'm the expert, I'm walking through this, even more so than if it was on a webinar. If I was on a webinar, I would be showing them my PowerPoint slides. My PowerPoint slides for this information are GIFs. I have GIFs from an animated version of our products. We have a product video that goes through the entire process of the flow of water. I've taken those, turned them into looping GIFs or GIFs, depending on your preference. Animations that loop.
Choosy mothers.
Animations that loop. And so as I'm talking about the thing, they're seeing some action on the screen. But still, I wouldn't have been able to have this level of interactivity with the content if I was on the webinar.
And you were able to do that live and then send them a copy of it for their...
I wasn't able to connect with them live, so
you weren't?
I did. No, I wasn't. That was the back and forth. Is I kept offering them, hey, can I do something live? Can I do a webinar with you?
Gotcha.
They kept kind of rejecting that without. They didn't engage with that.
So then, what was their response to this?
I've not gotten it yet.
Oh,
I don't know. But my last offer to them was, I still would love to do a webinar, but I don't want to leave this question unanswered, and so here's a more in-depth answer. So it didn't end up being a 7.5 minute long video because that's what it took to succinctly explain the answer to their question. Writing that out in text, like I said, I think I got to the 6th bullet point or 6th step, and I just ended up saying, hey, I can't explain this.
So I've got the dongle that allows me to plug that into a projector.
Okay, yeah.
Or into a computer where I could record through and do it during a webinar.
Do you do it? Do you do that?
You can do it during a webinar.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't have a pencil, so I don't use it for that. But I was using an app that we have, and I wanted to be able to show the app, and so I was able to plug it in, and boom, here's the app, pops up on their screen.
Nice.
They could see my iPad, and I was able to walk through it. With a pencil, it would have been nice, because then it would have been more clear what I was clicking on.
Right. Yeah, and the nice thing with the pencil is you end up getting a second set of actions that you can do, because you can still do things with your fingers. So scrolling is done with your fingers, pinch and zoom is done with your fingers. Some of the other action is done with the pencil, and so it actually gives you more control.
Pencil has some buttons on it too?
This one doesn't, no.
Gen 1 does not.
Gen 1 does not. Gen 2 does not either. It is just round, smooth. It's got a USB thing at the back, so the one downside is you look like an idiot when you're charging it. You can plug it into
it's not USB, it's a flat.
Yeah, that's right.
Lightning.
So you plug it into the bottom. I'm terrified of this falling while charging and snapping off. It does have a...
But for a garage sale or something, you could stick this out and have the coolest sign in your front yard.
Yes. It does have come with a female-to-female adapter that allows you to plug this into a traditional charger. The battery on it stays for a pretty long time. This is fine in a pinch. If your battery dies, you can charge it with your iPad battery, and it's fine. It charges pretty quickly. And then it just has this little cap on it. The Apple Pencil 2 only works with the iPad Pro.
Okay.
So the difference between this cost me for the pencil and the iPad, and this is the highest memory version of the low tier iPad. It cost me, I think, $450.
Now, is that a Wi-Fi?
The pencil
only?
is $100. It is Wi-Fi only, but that's I only use the Wi-Fi only versions anyway.
Well, if that's all you have, then it would be all you use.
Yes. Versus the one I wanted to get was on sale. On sale with the Apple Pencil was going to cost me $1,200.
Yeah.
So I saw that they were having a sale on the Apple iPad Pros, and I thought, ooh, I want that. Researched it, found out that actually this is powerful enough for most people. I mean, what if you haven't used an iPad in a while? They've made some updates to it, and apparently they're releasing a new operating system as well. One of the things that's really, really sweet is it now has the ability to do split screen. So you can do true split screen where you're showing different things, or it also now has an option to do an overlay where you have a program that is not in the split screen that kind of swipes in and out of screen. So here I have my Bible on this, so I can just swipe and it disappears, swipe and it appears. So it's pretty nice. It's really nice when you're trying to multitask. They've done a really good job. It's been years since I've had an iPad, so I found it really good for business. Yeah, I had an iPad 1. I own an iPad version 1. Since then, I've dabbled with Android tablets because they've been in the price point for me. And this one coming in at, again, $450 for, I think, 128 gigs, maybe 256 gigs, plus the Apple Pencil for that price was a sweet spot. So, but I thought you'd appreciate that.
That's very cool. I'm on my third iPad, but it's also not a Pro. I looked at the Pro, and I do have 4G coverage on mine. I normally, since I have the 4G, I don't bother getting a huge memory on it because I use the cloud. But with this one, I got a pretty decent amount of memory, whatever, again, I don't know, 128 or something like that. I used to never, ever, ever download YouTube videos or Netflix videos. Now I do. My last trip to Germany, I had a whole bunch of Netflix series downloaded and was able to watch.
Nice?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Was able to watch that. Speaking of Netflix, have you watched Dark?
No, I'm not.
It's a German TV show that was dubbed into English. The first season has been on there for a while, and the new season comes out, I think, late June.
Yeah.
And so I started watching that on my trip to Germany. Oddly enough, I didn't know it was a German show, but it's really good.
Yeah.
It's kind of, how to compare it, it's sort of X-Files-y.
Yeah.
But it's more of a murder mystery than it is the sci-fi mystery.
Yeah.
But it involves something akin to time travel, but it's butterfly effect, and it's kind of cool.
I've heard it's really good. It's gotten really great reviews. I've not seen that. The show I watched recently, start to finish, was Good Girls. It's also on Netflix and is. Imagine that three suburban house moms fall into three suburban house moms in Breaking Bad. It's not as good as Breaking Bad, but kind of stupid their way into a life of crime, and so that's enjoyable.
Did you watch Ozark?
I've not watched Ozark yet. I've heard really good things about that too.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be next on my list. You know what happened? I actually started to watch Ozark. I had it downloaded, and I started to watch it on a plane. And 2 minutes in, 5 minutes in, not even 5 minutes in, main character's watching porn at their work computer. And it's like, well, can't watch that on the plane. So I just stopped and haven't watched it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Had a friend have that same experience with Westworld. He got 2 seconds into Westworld, and I think Westworld opens with somebody topless having a conversation, and he was sitting next to like a 13-year-old on his flight. He's like, nope.
Man.
Yeah. Got to be careful of those Netflix shows.
I was on a flight and watching the in-flight movies on Delta, and same situation where I'm sitting next to some young kid, and as I'm watching this, and all of a sudden the two female characters start making out, and it's like, okay. I pick another movie, just go ahead and watch this other movie. An hour into it, the exact same thing happens.
Man.
Third, I'm scrolling through, looking through, and as I stop on this one, and I'm looking at the videos over here, and I suddenly notice that this kid is staring at my screen, and I hadn't noticed that if I scroll over here, the picture on the cover of the video is two women making out.
Oh my gosh.
Like, hey, watch whatever you want to watch, but it was sort of bizarre to see all that on an in-flight thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta be careful. Then they don't edit that down. No, so Ozark I should watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would watch Ozark before Dark.
Okay.
Before watching the series Dark.
Oh, before
you can watch Ozark anytime.
Okay, great.
Just not at work.
Yeah. Okay. The one that I really have been enjoying is Killing Eve. I can't say anything more about it.
Okay,
but
I don't think I've seen that.
It's really good.
Did you ever watch The Killing?
No, I don't get so much into the murder mystery serial killer kind of shows.
Okay, so you did. You watched that one, the one that was about the whole profiling, the making of a profiler.
What?
Oh, what is that series called?
Oh, yeah, that Netflix.
Yeah,
that one was. But that one's not about the serial killer and not about the serial killer.
No, not really. But
right.
it was about what an FBI agent or what became an FBI agent. I don't remember, but a second season of that's coming out.
The one of the main serial killer that they interview in that Mind of a Murderer, making a murderer. It doesn't matter. The main serial killer they interview in that. The guy that's really calm with the mustache, creeper. I watched. Have you seen The Umbrella Academy?
Never heard of it.
It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original show. It's a weird, trippy, sci-fi kind of show. He's in that. That actor's in that. It took me like episode 8 of 10 episodes before I was able to place him.
Oh, okay.
I was like, what is... It's like...
How do I know this guy?
Yeah, I got to a point where I had to actually Google it. Because I know this actor.
Yeah.
What is the deal? And yeah. But the weird thing is, his character is not... mannerism-wise, speaking-wise, is not too much dissimilar to... Making a Murderer? I think it's Making a Murderer.
That's probably right.
Whatever his character is in that. That's a good show.
Yeah, it was.
That's a good show.
Well, I think I'm going to wrap this up and go watch some more Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah, Andy Griffith.
That's the one.
Yeah, this has been fun. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Thanks for coming over, boy.
You're welcome. Glad you're healing up.
Yeah, me too. Good
Hopefully we'll be back in the shop on those butt wafers in no time.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to be able to be back in the shop.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
You'll be able to actually do some stuff.
That's what I'm talking about, actually. Not so much being back.
Stand on the floor and
yeah,
not wince in pain, maybe.
I'm so looking forward to getting the other leg done now.
Are you?
I really am. Yeah.
Does the other one feel worse now than it did before?
No, actually it doesn't. I thought that it might, but no, it doesn't. But what's been interesting is last week the in-home PT guy said, okay, now that you've done all these exercises on the right-hand side, he goes, I want you to go ahead and try them with your left leg. I can do these all with my left leg, right? Kind of marching in place and kicking yourself in the butt and things like that. And what I realized immediately, it wasn't so much that I can do it with my left leg, but now my right leg is having to support me while I'm doing that. So that was a completely new experience. And so I've been doing that. I've been mixing both of them. And then today I had another PT with him, and I said, by the way, that was really interesting advice to do that. He said, there are some surgeons now that are requiring their patients to start their PT before the surgery so that they have a sense of this is the way your body should be moving. This is the muscle memory that you should be using to do these. I wish we had done that.
That's also a really good sales tactic, too. I mean, that's
to move on and get the next leg done. You mean?
No. I mean that's contrast principle at work, right? Because when you do it before on your really, really bad need to have surgery knee, and you start doing it after, and a week later it's so much better than it was before,
Yes.
that is confirmation. It's not confirmation bias, but it's confirmation that the surgery was a good solution. You made the right choice. I mean, that's just, it's no different really than the customer service rep calling you 3 days after and asking how much do you love your new toilet, right? You don't love your new toilet, but they do that at some companies because they want to help you recognize that you have made a good purchase decision, so you don't sue them for screwing up your knee. Well, I mean, if the surgery didn't turn out well, and you had done that and you saw a 5% improvement, right? If you had the before and the after and you saw a 5% improvement,
right,
you wouldn't be upset. If you didn't do anything and you only relied on your memory of how good your knee is back before it was really screwed up.
That's true.
And so you'd be upset because now it's so much worse in your memory, in your mind. It's a really smart tactic.
We had somebody comment a couple weeks ago about how they need to get their knee done, but they're waiting until they're 60 or something like that. I will tell you, just do it. Just do it. So you're 5 years away from turning 60, right? Those 5 years you're never going to get back, and you're not going to be anywhere close to your normal use of your leg. You might as well get it done. And my father-in-law died at 52.
Right.
Tomorrow is not guaranteed to us. Next year is not guaranteed to us. Your 65th year is not guaranteed. Go ahead and get it done and enjoy what time you have.
And if you have to be in miserable pain with a broken leg, is it better to have for 5 years? Is it better for those 5 years to be now or 20 years from now when you can't have the second knee replacement surgery done? Right? I mean, if it's miserable because you can't have the second knee replacement surgery done, that's okay because you've had these years. I would choose these years.
Yeah.
Someone else also asked about weight loss and how that, I think, attributed to the surgery or how all of that kind of shook up.
Okay, so the surgery I think we mentioned 2 weeks ago.
Way long.
That's okay.
But that's fine.
2 weeks ago we mentioned that I had partial knee replacement, half of my knee, unicompartmental replacement. And it turns out only 5% of all knee replacements are unicompartmental surgeries. But half of my knee, the outside half of my knee, was perfect. The cartilage is great. I don't have arthritis over there. It's fine. I wore out the inside as if I were walking bow-legged. Apparently, to some degree, I do, or the stress and strain is bow-legged. And I did injure my knee as a teenager skateboarding, pretty bad. And so that injury also contributed to then the onset of the arthritis.
That's the surgery I will have to have.
Yeah. So to be able, though, to get this, there's quite a number of criteria. Of course, the first one being that half of your knee is still good, right? So if half of your knee is not good, then there's no point. But I checked off like 9 of the 10 qualifications. The 10th one was weight. And at the time that I was first discussing this with my doctor, I was 345 pounds. And he said, you're going to have to lose about 100 pounds.
I dream of the day I'm 345 pounds.
So he said, you're going to have to lose about 100 pounds. And then as I got closer to actually hitting that target, and I never quite did, I got 85 pounds down. And I went back to see the doctor about getting some steroid shots and the talk about, look, let's go ahead and get this scheduled. And I think I did mention a couple weeks ago, he was just shocked. He said, I tell 100 patients a week that they need to lose weight. And he says, none of them do. And so he was really thrilled by that. So he went ahead and referred me to the doctor, the surgeon that could actually do the knee. He could not do. My doctor, my regular surgeon, is not certified to do the partial replacement. So he referred me to his partner. And based on everything else, the fact that I had been losing the weight as effectively as I had, that I was still pushing myself to stay active and keep the muscles strong, he's like, I am comfortable going ahead and scheduling this surgery. So I'm thankful I only would have had another 15 pounds to lose, but man, the weight loss was coming a lot slower
Yeah.
the closer I got to the number. And I'm not sure if that was just the fact that when you're fatter, you can lose the weight faster, or if it was because I was mentally holding back because maybe I didn't want to have the surgery. I didn't
Or-
want to have to go through recovery and all that.
Or you were close enough that you tasted victory and
That's-
thought it was okay to loosen up.
That maybe too.
I do that.
But I'm so happy that we did this.
Yeah.
And actually, since doing the surgery, I'd put on about 5 pounds in Germany. That really bummed me out that I did that.
Yeah.
I've got that all off now.
Awesome.
Since the surgery. Again, just low carb.
Yeah.
And I'm anxious to get the next one done. So we'll see. I have an appointment later this week, and we'll find out at that point. I know that they're going to want the repaired knee to be in great shape
Right.
before they do the new knee. But from what I understand, that usually 3 months or so apart is what they shoot for. That would be great. If I can have this other knee done before the end of the year,
That'd be
that's
perfect.
ideal.
Yeah.
So yeah, have my deductible paid and everything.
And in between there, you're not walking on your shoulder, so get that done. Cram that sucker in there and have your knee done.
Well, I'll talk to them about that.
Just get it all taken care of, because it's all good and well that you could walk
But
a
disc
disc
golf
golf
is the
course,
goal.
but if you're only able to carry the disc, that's no good. For me, the goal.
That's been 10 years. 10 years ago that I found out that I pretty much destroyed my rotator cuff.
Yeah.
They did an MRI on this, and the doctor had suspected that he would find a couple injuries, and he said basically what he was looking at is I have shredded much of my muscles, and probably from disc golf.
Yeah.
You know, because at those speeds that you're throwing the disc, you're hyperextending things. And I would go months without playing, and then I would go play as aggressively as normal.
Yeah.
And I injured myself every single time I played. Rarely did I complete all 18 holes, you know, without having to stop because of my shoulder. So yeah, that's a good point. We'll talk about that.
Just add it to the bill.
Yeah, might as well get the whole undercarriage, undercoating, and everything while I'm at it, huh?
Yeah, I've been interested to play disc golf. I was looking into BMI the other day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was had a friend who was going to Carowinds, which is our local theme park, and they were talking about not really enjoying riding roller coasters and being nervous about riding roller coasters, and that's why I encourage them. We've talked about recently, don't say you're nervous, say you're excited, because they elicit the same physiological feelings, and it's all just about attitude, how you think about it. And it sparked a conversation about how, man, I can't wait until I hit my goal weight, which isn't a number that is set, but it is just small enough, because the celebration for that will be going to Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio, the roller coaster
I'm going to
capital of the
celebrate with
world.
you.
You
I'm
have
invited.
You have joined a long list of people who have volunteered that. Isaac is in it as well, and so, but just somebody asked, well, what number is that number? I said, well, really at that point, it's just a matter of what's going to be comfortable and let me ride all of the coasters, right? What's small enough? I don't know. He said, well, is 300 small enough? I said, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've ridden
Well,
one.
you're 6'4" too, so your 300 on you is going to be trimmer than 300 was on me.
Right. And so that sparked a conversation about how I can't imagine going any lower than 250 right now. But I started at 527. So, 250 is less than half of the person I used to be. And so we'll see as I get close to that number how it kind of plays out. But we looked into the BMI. I think for my height, the maximum healthy weight is 197.
Duh.
It just seems impossible.
It does seem impossible.
Seems like a crazy number.
And again, there's somebody watching this that to them that would be crazy obesity.
That's right.
But
yeah, I've got friends that's like normal. That's pretty normal for them, and that's like trim for them. And they're smaller than me, shorter than me, whatever. So I can't imagine that, and that's okay. So right now it's just a continual journey. I'm excited for being your former heaviest fat size, which should happen soon, I hope.
That's amazing. Congratulations, boy.
Thank you.
Again,
So,
I know it's all relative.
carb.
It's funny to hear that. You know, I am lighter now than I've been in years. I mean, 20 years. And yet I also get out of the shower in the morning and look at the mirror, and all I can see on me is the weight I want to lose now. It's probably becoming a bit of a psychosis.
Yes, probably.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for joining us. Thanks for hanging out this long, those of you who have. Of course, I'm only talking to you if you have. If you haven't stayed on this long, I guess I have nothing to say to you.
Thank you guys for watching. And
Make
we'll
it
see
a
you next
great week.
See ya.